2, 1. What's up, guys? This is the Board Game Roamer, and I am back with an unboxing of an absolutely amazing game. This game I caught on Kickstarter. Oh man, uh, it looked amazing. The mechanics looked amazing. The expansions looked amazing. The theme, immersive. What am I talking about? Lords of Hellas by Awaken Realms. Now, I've not been involved with many of Awaken Realms projects, but this one caught my eye. And so this just came in. I'm super excited. Now, this will be part of the Kickstarter, and I got the sunburst painting on everything. So if you get if you had just like a normal retail without sunburst, yours is going to look a little bit different. But I went ahead and did it, and I'm think I'm going to be really glad that I did. So all I've done at this point is taken the wrapper off. Have not opened the box, although let me tell you, it was really hard not to do that. But yeah, so, and I went all in on this. So this is the first of the 2 waves. So all the expansions, the additional players, the additional gods, all those will be coming later. And I think, if I understood the Kickstarter page right, since I was in part of the group that kind of got the last set of the core box, I'll be getting in the first group that gets the first set of the expansion. So I hope to have those soon. But man, enough of me talking. Let's take a look, see, and see what we got here. And I will tell you that from the get-go, this box is already too full. Like, this is sitting up 2 board thickness out of the box. So hopefully that means there's a lot of good stuff. Alright, so here's the board. Let's take a look at this. See how big the board is. So it looks like a 3 by 3. Ooh, that baby just barely fits. And I think the other side is, let's see, I think it's like alternate, kind of like maybe lighter and then like a darker. I'm just double checking here. Let's see, Hermes, Zeus. Yeah, maybe just like a darker. I don't really see a difference. Just 2 sides. One side may be a little bit darker. Maybe that's the only difference that I see right off. But man, look at that. You have your temple your temple pieces down here, your cards, combat card, discard artifact cards, all your different areas, your quest trackers, your events, your monsters, your blessing deck, your locations. And this is a big board. This is, yeah, this is a big board. And that's not with the stuff on it. Man, it's going to be so awesome. Alright, cool. So that's the board. And here you can see, let me just show you the back side here, I guess. So like I said, I think this is like a darker, it almost looks like the stuff's been blown up. Temple track. Oh no, that's different. Population. Attitude. Okay, so maybe this is for the solo play side. Neutral, where, yeah, there's something special about this side, and I do not know what it is, but we'll find out. Cool. Alright. So there's that. Okie doke. Next we have the tokens and the leader boards. the special abilities, and we've got so you got the special abilities on the front, and of course you got just some art on the back, and then so you'll have these heroes, right? Like so in this case, Helen, who you'll play as your hero, and then you have a stat tracker. This has to do with how many combat cards you have, how far you can move, how many units you can move, your actions. Everybody will have one of these. These are all the same for everybody, but obviously the special ability and starting bonus is different depending on which character. And I like that they've got the art for the character and the look of the mini. And then here are temples and cities and all those things that would go on the map. However, and we'll get to it here in a minute, I did get the terrain expansion, which replaces all these cardboard punch outs with actual minis to go on the map. So those will be actual minis. Let's see here. And it's another hero, Achilles. A bunch of tokens, I'm not sure what those do. And then Heracles. And there we go. Wow, this is not finished, but there it goes. Heracles. And then here's the adventure tokens, or the adventure quest tokens. So there's different quests that'll come out, and these quests will go on the board in various locations. And once you complete them, then you'll get a reward. There's glory tokens, increase hero attributes, etc., etc. So there's several things you can do with those. Cool. And then finally we have Perseus. And there's good old Perseus. There was an option to get these, all of these heroes in a riding, like riding on some sort of animal, various animals. Pegasus was on well, or not Pegasus. Perseus was on a Pegasus and some things of that nature. I opted not to do that. As cool as it would be, having the regular ones were fine, so I didn't really worry about that. Okay, so this, I do know, there's a couple things in this little stack. I'm going to try to just go ahead and slide these out. Yes. Yeah. There we go. So, quality, not bad. Could have been a little bit thicker in my opinion, but it's okay. So here is the Persian invader tray. So there is a solo element to it. So this is using that solo element. I'm assuming this is where they're moving units around. Or some sort of timer maybe. I can't really tell. But there's a track here for marching and such. Then, in the core game, you have, and I don't know, I'm assuming that there will be a Kickstarter package for this special stuff, but that's not in here, because this is just the core box. So in the core game, you have monsters, right? Minotaur, Chimera, Hydra, Cyclops, Cerberus, Medusa, Sphinx. Those should be minis in here. We'll see in a second. But all these have these locations that you fight, right, with your combat cards. And if you defeat them, one of the win conditions is you defeat 3 of these. And if you defeat them, you get some very, very, very nice artifacts. But you can move these around, and they'll do some damage. Possibly you can move them around, and they'll do some damage in a city, or I guess I should say a region. Yeah, in a city or a region. And so you can actually use them to kind of thwart your opponent, or you could strategically maybe move them where they're closer to you or something like that. So that's what those are for. And then let's see what these are for. Okay, so these 4 cards are tell you what the bonuses are. So when you build in the core box, you have 3 monuments, and as you build the monuments, the different pieces, it shows you what the pieces are, and it tells you what the pieces give you. So, for instance, Zeus gives you +1 strength. Hermes gives you +1 speed, and Athena, you're upping your leadership. And depending on what level it is, and I'm not sure if this is when you build it or when you pray, you get to do one of the things on the list. And then the back basically tells you this is how you do combat, walks you through combat. Because combat can be a little bit confusing. Alright, so here's the campaign book. Although I don't know if having a tutorial on how to fix broken miniatures on the back is a good sign or not. That's scary. Okay, so wow. Tells you everything you've got here. Of course, this is the campaign book, so it looks like you're going to be working through it. Quests, monsters, scripts. So there's Act 1, Act 2, and that looks like it. So somehow a campaign is defined as 2 acts. Interesting. We'll have to definitely look into that more to figure out what's going on with that. Of course, like I said, there is a solo option, so you could play solo if you wanted to. Oh my gosh, those look amazing. Okay, so battle hunt. So there's a little bit of an appendix here on the back. It's good. Color coding. Okay. So that's kind of a helpful way to find stuff. Victory conditions. And tells you how to win. Game prep, map. So it looks like there are a lot of pictures, fortunately. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of text, and it's pretty small text, to be honest, but there are a lot of pictures that, at a glance, make me feel like would be very beneficial. And then glossary. That's what that other part is. Cool. So we'll see. There is apparently a learn the game link here on the front that I guess they may want you to check out. So now let's get to the amazingness. So here's all the player colors. There's green, blue, red, and yellow. Okay. Okay. And so, yeah, let's do, what's the easiest way to do this? I guess let's do this like this. So here's all the first hero colors. Now, let me pull out, what's good? We'll go with blue. So here are some priests. That's really not good to focus. Here are some priests, right? Here's an example of, are all those the same? Yes, all these are the same. Here's an example of a hoplite. Now you notice they've got that white, that is the sun drop. Reading in the forums, there's some people that are really not a fan of that at all. Some people absolutely hated it. And I guess if you painted all your miniatures, and these are pretty small, but if you painted them all, you know, yeah, I guess I could see how you might be a little bit unenthused with it. But as somebody that's not a painter, that doesn't have the time or the talent to paint, I really like the fact that this was an option. And it's not much, but it does give them definition. They're not just plastic pieces. You can see the details much clearer on them with that. So to me, it was worth it. So that was the hoplites. So here's some of the heroes. And let me get let's see here. Let's get white hero out, and then get let's see here. I think there's these hoplites are all different too. They're different for each hero. I think this is right. So just to give you kind of a comparison, right, of the size of the heroes to the size of the hoplites, right? There's kind of a size comparison. So they're a little bit bigger. Right? Not a huge amount bigger necessarily, but between the coloring obviously and the detail and the look, there's definitely, you'll be able to tell who's who. And of course they have the classic rings, right? Colored rings in here, so you will be able to tell that very easily. Okay. Bang, bang, boom. Alright, let's take a look at this. So, what do we have in here? So we've got damage markers. That's for when we do attacks on the monsters. Nothing special there, just your standard translucent cubes. We have standees. This would be for the temples. But again, because we've got the terrain expansion over here, the cardboard cutouts will be replaced. So, I mean, they're in there. If you don't have the terrain expansion, it's not going to mean you can't play anything. I just liked having those. This is the die. So this is the die where at the end of each, well, there's a point where something will trigger, okay? And this die is going to be rolled, and you're either going to move the monster, nothing's going to happen with the monster, or it might attack, right? Or you may get a choice, whoever gets to roll. And there's a mechanism for determining that. I don't remember what it is. But you'll get to do that. And so this is the dice that you roll to do that, to move them around. There's one extra little baggie, and then of course, like I said, the rings that go on the bottom of the heroes to mark their colors. So that's kind of standard stuff there. Now, the next parts are the coolest parts. All right, I'm going to start with the monsters, and I'll pull out. I need to do that. I'll pull out the. To do a size comparison, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here's an example. Here is the Cerberus. No, is that Cerberus? Yeah, Cerberus. But look at that, guys. That's so amazing. Holy crap. Look at that color. Now, if you look at it from the back, you're like, eh. But from the top down, you may be like, eh. But you're really going to kind of see him from the side on the board. And I'm sorry, but that difference in shading from the dark and the light just, to me, brings out a ton of detail on the mini. I mean, yes, I understand that you could paint it and you could make it look absolutely amazing. But again, I'm not somebody that paints them. I don't have the time, the talent. I just like to play the game. So for me, that is a home run. Not everybody will agree, but that's okay. Here's something else. All right. Not 100% sure what that is. Sphinx, maybe? Well, we all know what that is. That just looks like bad news bears. Manticore. Chihuahua. And the Medusa. So should we get these closer for you guys to see? Now here's the cool thing. Look at that. And it's it might be kind of hard to tell from this, but this is actually a guy that's being turned to stone. How cool is that? How cool is that? And then we've got the Cyclops. All right. And then we've got what I think is a really cool mini, the Minotaur, with his sword and his claw arm, or his axe and his claw arm. And those are a little bit bent. A couple things look a little bit bent, but again, I'm okay with that. It's not the end of the world for me. Now I gotta. Well, clearly that has to go in like that. Okay, I guess it goes in like that. Alright. So then we have the monuments. So these are the things that over the course of the game you're going to build. And these babies are ginormous. And the coolest part about these, once I figure out how this goes on here exactly. Yeah, there we go. These guys are massive. Massive. So here's the thing. When you start the game, you don't have all the pieces. All these pieces start separate, and you literally have to build each piece, one piece at a time, as part of your actions to complete the final statue, the monument. And then this is where your priests go to worship. So you've got Zeus, you've got Athena, maybe? I think it's Athena. Oh, that's not him. That's for somebody else. Let's see. One, two. There's 5 pieces to each sculpt. So there's Zeus's. There's Athena's, I think. I think that's, yeah. And now that's going to be the fun part, is remembering. Oh, it's his leg. Okay, that makes more sense. And then part of his body. And then the top part of his body. Yeah. And then here's the last one. Again, I also do not remember, but that's okay. But here's the cool part, right? So oh yeah, it isn't like that. So cool, right? And kind of like a side shot there. There you go. And like I said, you're gonna have priests. I'll give you an example here. Let me pull a couple of priests that you're gonna be able to get. And you're gonna be able to say, okay, I'm gonna send my priest over to pray. And you can see, oops, that these front little receptacles, bang, bang, dang it, they don't fall out. They just literally just sit in those. And so when they're full, then nobody else can use them, I think. But if you look at, we'll use, let me get everybody back in here first. There's that one. We'll use Zeus as the example. Right, so this is Zeus. Okay. And then we'll take, the chimera. Right, so there's the chimera. Then we'll take, oh, they're over here. Make sure I don't lose anything. Our hero from earlier, right? And then the hoplites, right? So you can see how much of a scale there is. And I mean, this is my hand as an example. So you can see there's a big scale difference. But I mean, it makes everything feel so much gigantic, because your heroes, right, to a normal person are these epic things, and to your heroes, even these monsters are epic, and then you have these massive monuments to the gods. It's really, really cool. I'm not aware. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just means I'm not aware of any other game that has done something like this. I could be wrong. There may be, and I just don't know about it. But I've never seen or heard one, or heard of one, I should say. These put back in here, and then this one piece was separate. And he went in like this. And this was just kind of laying across there, mostly, essentially. Kind of iffy, no. Kind of laying across like that. Cool. Here's some plastic tokens for control when you take over a region. And then you've got your decks of cards. So you have artifacts, specific artifacts for, well, you have generic artifacts, right? So this is, well, that's not a good example. Let's say ambrosia. Heal all injuries your hero has suffered. Right. So you got generic ones, and then you have specific ones that if you beat the Chimera, then you get Chimera's Fire as an artifact. Or if you beat the Minotaur, you get the Minotaur's Horn, right, that does special things. Or if you're the first person, if I remember right, if you finish building maybe the monument, you're the one that finishes building the monument to the gods, there's a special artifact card specifically for each one of the gods. And I'm not going to show you all those. I'm going to let you find those for yourself. But suffice it to say that they're pretty thematic, it looks like. Oh gosh. No, I'm going to try that. I'm just going to put them back in there. Not the way they're actually going to go, right? Alright, so then we've got, what do we got here? We've got events. Events, monument activation. Events. Temples. Oh. So that tells you when you can do certain things. Blessings. Some are strength based, some are speed based, and some apparently are leadership based. So I guess you mix all these together, I'm assuming. That's what that means. And it looks like they got these little icons with a 1 in it. I'm assuming that would be if you play the solo Persian invasion, I guess, scenario, then these would be the cards maybe you keep. Yeah, probably that's what that is. So blessings are going to give you things like restrict your maneuver when you are the defender in a battle. Your enemy can only play 1 combat card. When you play a combat card in a hunt or battle, sacrifice 1 priest to add 3 to the strength of that card. Instead of using hoplite movement action, you can move one of your hoplites to any region on the map. It would be a movement one. Weak spot. At the start of the hunt, discard 1 combat card to deal 1 wound of any type. So again, combat, leadership, movement, all kinds of stuff that deals with that. And then the blessings. Are these all the same? No, these are not the same. So these temple cards are different. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but it's interesting. And then the events are... oh wait, there's more than events. Are these all events? Oh, okay. Events. Amazon Queen, Expedition for the Golden Fleece. Oh, wait a minute. So it looks like a combination of quests, maybe? I think it may be a combination of quests and making the, like for instance, the Chimera, Medusa, making them actually stronger. Or making it harder for you to fight them. Kind of what that looks like. It says evolve. Interesting. Let's see what's over here. Unless it's more the same. That looks like some player aid cards. Thank you, Jesus. Monster cards, combat cards, more event cards. So, monster attack cards. So these, I believe, yeah. So when you pull these, another player is going to pull these. Pull, I think maybe two, and then use one against you. So that's basically the monster AI is what the monster attack cards are, and then the combat cards are what you draw. It has a combination of things that you can either play the combat cards for if you're defending like a region, or if you're trying to hunt a monster, and then they all have values for all that different things and symbols to help attack the monster. So it's pretty cool. They did a really good job of like reusing, or not reusing the cards, but making all that kind of, where you didn't have 50, bajillion stacks of stuff. I mean, there's a few stacks, but I mean, there's a lot of games that have a lot more stacks of stuff. I mean, let's just be honest. Okay. So we pull these up, and that is, in fact, the totality of the core box, which I believe I will now not be able to get everything back in, just as I predicted. Yeah, that was going to happen. These were kind of on top. I remember that. These were mostly on bottom. These are kind of like... I don't know how that's going to work. Because even if I lay those, I don't know. We'll just set that to the side for now. And then there's these. Alright, so that's the main box. Now, also the Kickstarter box, what they did include was this box. This was a promo box for Nemesis, which is a game on Kickstarter. I'm not sure if it's completed yet or not, but it's another Awaken Realms game. But the cool thing is, not only did they give us a promo as far as a really neat looking monster from Nemesis, which looks pretty neat, but it also included cards, event cards, attack cards, etc., etc., for using it as a monster, right? So now, not only do I have this cool promo, it's now actually a monster that I can use in the game, which is neat. Oh, and then I think this is just a, yeah, I think this is telling you that it's coming to, yeah. So, I thought that was pretty cool, because I had gotten this promo when I got Lord, oh my gosh, I was going to say Lords of Hellas, but I know that's wrong. When I had gotten the, this War of Mine, right, and it had the promo for Lords of Hellas, which was cool, and it was the Minotaur, right, a small version of the Minotaur that just had a little, you know, so that was cool, but you know, you couldn't use him for anything, right? I mean, he was just kind of like, they were showing off their sun drop technique, but he wasn't really functional other than just cool little mini. This was I mean, it is bigger, which was neat, but it is also functional, which is even more neat, in my opinion. Cool. So, now let's take a look at the fourth thing that was in the box, and this is called Siege Storm. Now, this is actually a totally separate game that has absolutely nothing to do with Lords of Hellas, but it is put out by Awaken Realms. It was just a free, basically just a free goodie that they included with the Kickstarter, right? If you back the Kickstarter, and it's just a very simple, as I understand it, card game. Very small rule booklet, just a handful of pages. I mean, it folds out to be, it says 15 pages, but it's like eight eight of these panels front and back. It looks like you got a what have you got? Seraphim and Styxia. So kind of a yellow deck and a red deck. Action, passive, attack, defense. I'm assuming that's like probably a cost of some sort. Just a fun little, neat little game. And they actually included it in all the Kickstarter copies, which I thought was pretty cool. So that was in there. That was kind of like the secret thing that I said we're going to put something in, and I'll not tell you what it is. Well, that's what it was. So hopefully, if you have gotten your Kickstarter, you knew that. If you haven't, you won't be too mad that I spoiled it for you if you didn't already know. Alright, now let's check this out. So this is the training expansion. So as I said, if we go back over here, the core game comes with these punch outs, right, for the temples. That's what these are, and then the oracle. And then, of course, on the boards you have printed cities. This box converts all those to minis. Alright, so we've got, guess that may be Sparta, possibly. All right. So again, I got it with all the sun drop, and it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, and that's the Oracle Delphi. All right, and then you got your cities, and the cool thing too with these cities, if I can get one out, is that they have this indentation. So one of the things that you can do is if you own a region, you can move your hoplite into this, and you're defending against somebody coming in and attacking the region. When you're computing strength of your army versus their attack, of course you can do combat and all of the combat cards or whatnot, but if you fortify your location, it adds additional defense, and so you can actually just put your little hoplite in there to show that you fortified the city. Which, I mean, you could do. I mean, obviously you could do that without these, but you're just kind of sitting it on the board, and if you know that guy hits the board right while you're doing your thing, and all your people shift, and you don't happen to remember, that's going to kind of suck. The other thing is there's all these. These are the replacements for the temples, which is how you get your priests. So these will sit up on the board, right? Instead of having just the cardboard standees. And again, those are also the sun drop. Sun drop shading on those. And I think, if I remember correctly, I'm going to double check. I'm pretty sure that's all that's in this box. And again, this box is not part of the core. I'm going to try to pull it out. If it's that hard to get out, I'm pretty sure that's not it. Sparta, 14 cities, 8 temples, 1 Delphi Oracle, 1 Sparta. Yeah, so that's everything. So, you know, not necessary to play the game, but I just really think that it adds a lot to it. And even if you don't have them sunburst, right, it's still to me, it just seeing them in person compared to the cardboard, it really adds. So it is definitely worth it. So I think that is everything. So again, this is Lords of Hellas by Awaken Realms. Looking forward to playing this with a group. Looking forward to trying even the solo. It just looks like an awesome game. And with all the expansions coming, holy cow! There's like three or four more monuments. A number of other heroes to play. And of course, with all the monuments, it adds whole new mechanisms. You know, with Hades, you've got these undead people that come out, right, that can either help you or harm you. And when you add the player expansions, you got more heroes and more hoplite armies to deal with, and it's just really, really cool. Super looking forward to this game. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I will see you in the next playthrough. Bye bye, guys.